I just got my right hand tattooed, and it's like looking like extra dark and swollen.
Dude, you just got that yesterday, right?
I feel like it's too dark. Does it look too dark? I feel like it's making me realize that I fucking hate my Arcanine tattoo here. I think I'm overthinking
What makes
it.
you? What
like,
makes you? Hate?
Look at this arm. It's all like from afar. It's all the same. Whereas this one, I feel like my hand's darker than the rest of it, right? But I think it's also gonna fade. It's also gonna fade a little bit. It's gonna fade to like that color.
It'll blend in a little bit more. Yeah, I think it might just be the drasticism of how new that is versus like the Arcanine and the Thorns have been around since I've known you.
Maybe I'll have to just get the Arcanine tattooed over.
Oh, like a what? Like a brick?
Like a darker Arcanine. Like
Darkanine?
Like Darkanine.
That sounds cool. That's good. That's got to be a regional variant.
To be honest,
I've
I've kind of always hated the Arcanine, and I think this is just making me realize I hate it more.
What don't you like about the Arcanine tattoo?
The placement is kind of awkward because you can never really tell what it is. You just see its ass.
You have said that to me before.
And then you go here and you go, oh yeah, that's Arcanine, I guess. But like the placement, it's awkward. At the time I got it to like fill up a space, but even my tattoo artist was
fill
like,
up a space.
Nice. My tattoo artist at the time was like, I don't know if this is gonna like really make a ton of sense here. And I was like, nah, it's fine. And every time my tattoo artist tells me like you should do it this way, and I don't listen to them, they're always right.
They're always right.
Like, oh,
yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot.
If there's one thing I learned from watching Ink Masters.
That's what it's called, Tattoo No Ink Masters.
Tattoo No Ink Masters.
Are we ready?
Let's take it away.
What am I saying?
Today, we have a topic from Tenception.
Oh, I also wanted
about misrepresent what? What do you want to talk about?
I was gonna say, do you have a definition of the brackets lined up? I don't want to surprise you with that question in the middle, but I feel like that's something that the bracket, what it is, has kind of shifted a little bit, and we're cEDH, so I think it'll be good to talk about what bracket 4 actually is. I don't want to surprise you with that in the middle, though.
No, but I mean, we've been recording this whole time, so we basically did.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the link down below for 5% off to help support the show.
Welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in cEDH. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dylan. This week we have a Patreon submitted topic. We're talking a little bit about bracket 4, maybe some of the other brackets if we get to it, but it's going to be a quick one. We got Amsterdam right around now. I guess by the time you're watching this,
it actually is Amsterdam.
It's Amsterdam right now.
Yeah.
So this podcast is going to be a little bit of a quick one, so we can get it edited and done in time. I said a bunch of intro stuff. Some of
you did a great job at it,
Thank
too,
you.
Dylan.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah. It's basically the casual episode, which is why it's half as long.
Because casual games notoriously go half as long as cEDH
games. Well, have you played in a tournament recently? It kind of feels that way.
What is the actual question by our patron?
All right, so Tenception had a lot to say. The basic rundown of this is...
Well, let's read his full question. He asked a question.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you read it.
One of the topics we talk about a lot is, I guess, the misrepresentation or misunderstanding of the bracket system. We have many players. I guess when he says we, he's talking about his play group.
Or the community in general.
Or the community in general, sure.
Yeah.
We have many players who, I guess by definition, in quotes, say they play bracket 4 because they've thrown money at their deck, or there's like 7 or 8 game changers. The deck is still severely under-optimized and wins by like turn 10. I think that would be an interesting topic. You have a response, and then should I say this other part? Probably, because this is part of the question.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I should say what you say, because he says yes. So let's see what he's saying yes to. You say, I see. So this is like seeking to find a more concrete definition for what makes a deck bracket 4, and possibly making an argument for a need for another bracket that separates these upgraded 7 game changer decks and truly optimized non-cEDH decks. And Tenception says yes. At locals, I've seen a ton of decks that's bracket 4, as they say, only because of game changers. There's no actual win cons. Deck be a hamster wheel. I have this conversation a lot. I think the definition is vague. Even people that play cEDH at our shop, some really only have bracket 4, even though they consider it bracket 5. Me personally, I think the commander you pick has a big part in what separates high bracket 4 from actual cEDH. You're right. Okay, there was a lot there. There was a lot there.
That's why I was trying to do a paraphrase thing.
I understand. Now that we have spent all of that time reading it word for word,
the podcast is over.
All right, now we're done. What's your paraphrasing? Do you still have it in your mind?
Overall, I think what tends to happen is that bracket 4 seems to be largely considered to be a little bit too big of a bracket, because there's too many things that could be considered bracket 4, where there's still like an extra conversation that you need to have to figure out, well, how bracket 4 is your deck? Did you just take like a bad bracket 3 deck and just put even more game changers, like 4 game changers in it technically? Or do you have like a truly optimized deck that's entirely built around your commander, but isn't strong enough to be in the cEDH metagame or something like that.
Sure. I'm personally okay with where the bracket system lies right now. There can just be good bracket 4 decks and bad bracket 4 decks, and I think that's okay. Not everything has to be exactly even all the time. When you're playing two modern decks together, the other day at Modern Locals, I played against someone who was playing just like a bunch of blue-red artifact Marvel cards, and that was their modern deck. And we were both playing modern. We didn't need to bracket fight. You're a bracket 2 modern deck, and I have a bracket 5 modern deck. We were just playing modern decks. His was bad, mine was good. That's all that was, and that to me, that's okay. Commander is obviously much different because it's much more of a social format, and a lot of times people, they're maybe only playing like once for a month or once for a week, and to be in a pod that's completely misaligned with what they were expecting, that can create a lot of feel bads. I think that's okay. You're allowed to feel bad, and I think you should get over that. But like, I think that's kind of just part of Magic and like upgrade your deck or whatever. But I do understand that there is a lot of wiggle room in what bracket 4 is. Should we read what their definition, what Wizards' definition of bracket 4 is?
They consider bracket 4 to be optimized decks, so that players expect decks to be lethal, consistent, and fast, designed to take people down as fast as possible, but they do not adhere to the cEDH metagame. The win conditions should be varied from archetype to archetype, but can end the game suddenly and quickly, and the gameplay should be explosive and powerful, featuring huge threats and efficient disruption to match it. But the game should also go at least 4 turns before anyone wins or loses, and then there's no deck restrictions in terms of how many game changers you can play, how many extra turn spells you can play, how many land destruction spells you can play, or anything like that.
I personally do not play a lot of bracket 4, so I want to caveat our whole conversation with bracket. If I'm playing casual, normally around bracket 3 is where I sit.
I agree. I try not to push into bracket 4 because I think this is kind of part of the reason why.
I don't know what it is.
I don't really know what it is.
What's the point?
Right, kind of like, what's the point? Like, if I'm going to like purposefully not play cEDH, I would rather power my deck down to like a more fun level that's not like cEDH level. Like, I don't really understand that space where, like, if I can have access to all of the cards that I want, why don't I just play cEDH at that point?
And I think a big part of the reason is some casual commander groups are not as cool with proxies as cEDH is. You play as many powerful cards as you can get your hands on, but you're not playing a Mox Diamond because you don't have a Mox Diamond, and for you, the joy is collecting the cards and finding the cards. So without the Mox Diamond, it's not really cEDH, but you still, it's your deck. You want to make it as strong as you can make it within your realms of possibility. That's where kind of I see bracket 4 a lot of the time. I wish that in their definition, they didn't say decks try to win as fast as possible. Because for me, I feel like that's like an archetype thing and doesn't necessarily have to gel with what bracket 4s can be. There can be bracket 4 decks that are control decks and stacks decks that win on turn 12, but they do powerful things as early as turn 2 and 3 and 4, right?
Yeah, I feel like you can still have a bracket 4 control deck or something like that.
And you're not winning early, but your opponents are going to be locked out of the game from an early stage out, or like that would be the goal or something like that.
Or low-row life gain deck, just like it has way too much value in it and just wins with Etherflux Reservoir eventually.
Right, yeah. So like that part is a little bit tricky for me because that to me like sort of defines like an archetype within bracket 4. Some bracket 4 decks can be very quick, some of them not. And also like the game changer thing, I like it a lot as a way to define what bracket 3 is, but the bracket 4 thing is a little bit tricky. Like I have an AC deck, it's a Lands Matters deck. It's technically a bracket 3 deck. It's got like 2 extra turn spells in it, and it's got 3 game changers. And I'm pretty sure that falls within the technical definition of a bracket 3 deck, but it's pretty consistent and it always wins with a combo. All of the wins are draw my whole deck and cast Nexus Fade over and over again. All of my wins are some sort of, what's the new one? It's not new anymore. The mill 3 and you can bring all your lands back and shit like that. With
Will of the Sultai or something like that.
No. It's a 2-mana creature. It's in the modern primetime deck.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean.
It's on screen.
It's on screen. That like, so like all of my wins are like a combo finish, and they can happen around like turn 5, turn 6, around that realm, but there's like no protection. There's very minimal interaction. I only have 1 or 2 counter spells. So it's like, to me, definitively not a bracket 4 deck because it's not completely optimized. Everything is focused around lands. Every single card in the deck works with the lands. I'm not playing Force of Will or Soul Ring. It's not like an optimized AC deck. It's like as good a lands deck as I can make it. So it is a little bit in between bracket 3 and bracket 4. I just think that's okay.
Maybe bracket 4 is just like if you took that AC deck and you still just don't want to play it as a cEDH deck. Like you can still be focused around your theme, but you sacrifice a little bit of your theme in bracket 4 for optimization a little bit more. And so like you end up playing more free counter magic, which is not something that our play group does, but like you can lean into, you know, still things that kind of make it a lands deck and still let you play around your commander, but let you, I don't even have another idea of a game changer that you would want to throw in.
I get why people would want to do that. Maybe AC is your favorite commander ever, and you just want to win as many games as possible with AC. So you have Force of Will, and you have Fierce Guardianship and Ristic Study. Like, those cards aren't lands cards, so like I don't put them in the deck for me, but like you could certainly do that, and that would definitely make it a bracket 4. I personally, Dylan, have just no interest in doing that, because once I'm playing those cEDH cards, I would just rather play cEDH, and you can't play AC as a cEDH commander, so I just wouldn't do that. I would just find a cEDH commander instead, but that's not me. I'm not everyone, and everyone has a whole bunch of different things. So coming to that definition of like, what is the bracket? The bracket 4, it is a deep range. Basically, I'm saying all of this to admit that there is a pretty substantial range between what a bracket 4 deck is, because I personally feel like my AC deck is stronger than bracket 3. It's stronger than a regular bracket 3 deck.
Yeah, but if you put Intuition piles in it or Consecrated Sphinx, this is weird, man.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's kind of weird that we have like a Highlander point system in Commander in Casual now, in addition to a ban list. Like, I think it is kind of a funny way that Casual's splitting. So I think it does kind of make sense where if you want to opt out of the point system, basically for bracket 3 and lower, you do a bracket 4 that lets you do that. But
gives you an option.
Yeah, but like you could also like say, well, I don't really want Consecrated Sphinx in my blue deck. I don't need Cyclonic Rift in it, but like it could still be a 3 game changer bracket 4 deck then.
Technically that could exist. Yeah, of course. It just, you would probably lose to other bracket 4 decks if they're playing a bunch of game changers and you're not. At a certain point, you would have a hard time winning in those bracket 4 decks. I think also my point is like, it's okay if not everyone's deck is as perfectly even matched as possible. That's never going to happen. And
that's never going to happen
in any game of Commander or Magic in general. Normally, one of the decks is favored. Even in 1v1, they're not always perfectly evenly matched. Some decks have a better matchup against other decks. That's just going to be true in Commander too. In certain bracket 4 decks and in certain bracket 3 pods, you're just going to have an advantage, or your opponents are going to have an advantage. And that's part of the game, is like, how do I win in a pod where these two decks are stronger than my deck? They are good against my deck. They have an advantage against me. The puzzle is like, how do I win in those situations?
And I think it really comes down to intent a little bit more for that reason then. Like, if you intend to build a bracket 3 deck and play it against other bracket 3 decks and it's like too powerful against them, maybe that's a little bit different here. But like in bracket 4, I think you really get to expand the intent thing to its maximum capacity. Because if you intend to not play an insanely optimized deck in a cEDH format, then bracket 4 is wide enough that it doesn't matter how optimized or how powerful it is. Like, you have a home that's right there, and you just might play against a lot of decks that are just worse than what your deck is. But if you intend to, you know, take a bad cEDH commander, as maybe Tenception might call them. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But some really only have bracket 4 decks, even though they consider it to be bracket 5, which I would paraphrase to mean, oh, it's a bad cEDH commander.
cEDH deck, and that's okay.
And that's also okay too. But as long as you intend to play it against other cEDH decks, you know, that's fine. You just are going to have that same kind of power level difference that we're talking about, where, you know, it's a little bit more apparent in a modern setting. And by modern, I mean the format modern, where, like you were saying, it's 1v1. It's way more, you know, kind of matchup dependent, and it's way more obvious when like someone is playing outside of the meta. You know, bracket 4 doesn't need to necessarily adhere to a meta. You can just kind of build around your commander as much as possible, and you don't need to think about clones or stuff like that too. I guess that's another big indicator of, is this a cEDH deck or is it not? Do you play copy enchantment in it? And if the answer is yes, I guess there's now a tree. Is like Master of Keys your commander?
Right,
or like,
are you an enchantment deck? Or is it just good in your meta?
So once we set up that decision tree from there, I think that's like a better way to kind of determine, is this really a cEDH deck? I do kind of agree with like this take in general, but at the same time, like, I think intent does matter more.
Yeah. And I think also the brackets are meant to enable a conversation. They're not meant to be a black and white situation. It's not meant to be, this deck is exactly bracket 4, that deck is exactly bracket 3. I don't think that's the intent of it. The intent is to have a conversation. So when I say my AC deck is technically a bracket 3, it's got 2 extra turn spells and 3 game changers in it, but it wins by a combo pretty regularly. And if I can untap with AC like 2 times, I'm surely going to win the game. Like, having that conversation so your opponents know, okay, this is a bracket 3 deck, but it's a strong bracket 3 deck, and I win with a combo finish, and I have minimal interaction, but I'll tell them like the game changers are Glacial Chasm. Like, if I can get like that's how I stay alive or whatever. Like telling your opponents your strategy a little bit, like that's where those conversations happen. Or if you say I have 4 game changers, but they're all like kind of flavorly. This is my demon deck and I have demonic tutor in here. I'm just going to go search for another demon. Technically there are 4 game changers, but really you know what I mean? There can be caveats to all of these things. So I think having these brackets as like a guideline to a conversation is much better than like, you said your deck was bracket 3, but there's 4 game changers in here, so you've lied to me.
Yeah,
you have to have a full conversation about it when you're especially playing with strangers. If it's your friends in your pod that you've played with over and over again, eventually they know what's in that deck. They know what to expect of it. That's a strong deck, I'll play my strong deck. That's the weak deck, I'll play my weak deck or whatever. But when you're playing with strangers, the brackets have to like inform a full conversation, and then you give yourself the opportunity for like to like lie or maybe like accidentally say like you personally think that your deck is not strong, but you tell them that it's not strong, but your pod, everyone else at home, is super powerful. There's like wiggle room in there or whatever, but like that's okay. It's part of the conversation.
The point is that if you're just saying my deck is bracket 2, you're doing the bracket conversation wrong.
That's not really it.
That's really what it is. You know, it does kind of come down to like we're playing casually, so you have to be a loser to have to lie about the power level of your deck. You have to be a loser to do that.
And when I say lie, I kind of mean an accidental lie. Like at your pod, your deck is pretty weak because your home pod, everyone has very strong decks. So you go out in the wild and you say, my deck is weak in my experience. And then they go, oh, fuck, this is not what I consider weak. You know what I mean?
See, to me, that's not a lie, though.
Yeah.
Like, a lie has to be intentional. Like, you could perceive something based on your own experiences, even outside of Magic, right? And then that informs your perception of how something is. And the same thing is going to go with, like, your deck's power level. If you play against a lot of bracket 4 decks with your technically bracket 3 deck, you might say, my deck's bad in, you know, bracket 3 or something like that. But then you go and play against other people, and then you end up smashing them with your deck, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just all about how you perceive it when you go into a new pod and you have to have this bracket conversation.
I personally like bracket 3, I think, a little bit more. Even in my AC deck, when I do play it, I don't feel like that's the time and place. Like casual pods, at least for me, I have most joy when it's much more back and forth. And maybe that's a personal thing because I play so much cEDH. So when I'm looking for that like combo feel, I want that more in cEDH. But at this point in my life, I'm kind of just like a combo player through and through. So even in my casual decks, all of them have like a combo-ish feel to them. You know what I mean? It's going to be different.
Well, like what point, like what is the difference between synergy and combo then?
Right.
There's infinites that like, you know, people don't really like to do in bracket 3. I think that's something else that's a part of bracket 3.
Should we read what bracket 3 is so we have a comparison point to bracket 4?
Yeah, bracket 3 are decks that are powered up to be strong with synergy and high card quality, and they can effectively disrupt opponents and have win conditions that can be played from hand in one turn, usually because of steadily accrued resources. The gameplay features many proactive and reactive plays and lasts at least 6 turns before anyone wins or loses. You play 0 to 3 game changers with no mass land denial, no chaining extra turns, and no 2-card combos before turn 6. I guess you can have combos then.
I would consider AC is firmly in all of those things. Everything you said that is firmly AC, but there's still, that doesn't mean that there's not a range. You can have all of those things and be a Boros deck, and all of those things and be a Simic deck, and there's going to be a power difference, even if you follow all of those same rules to a T, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's good to just continue thinking of it as like it's a conversation. It's not
a growing conversation. Yeah, it's never going to be a stagnant thing. And even as they do update the bracket system, it's still never going to be able to compensate for everything. Because if it did, we'd have to sit here and like the optimized bracket 4 section would have to be 18 pages that we'd have to read before we can even start a game, and then make sure that your deck checks off every single one of these or some certain number of these. And it just seems like it's just way too much of a headache, where it's just better to kind of know your own deck. And if you don't really know your deck, you can say that too. Hey, I just built this deck. I think it's bracket 3, but it might end up feeling way too powerful because it does have 5 game changers in it, but that's the only thing that might make it bracket 4 still. But like as long as it adheres to most of one of these checklists and you have the intent of playing it in that specific bracket that you have the intent to play it in.
Well said.
Thank you. I think that, you know, that's kind of what the bracket system is for, and like where you should be implementing this, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. If I'm going to be a little bit more of my personal opinion on this, I don't really get the point of bracket 4. You should just play cEDH at that point.
I don't like playing in bracket 4 at all. I'll be honest.
You should just play. You should make your deck into a cEDH deck. And if you want to keep the commander and say, I have a fringe commander, I'm playing fringe cEDH, that's what it is. That makes sense to me, because otherwise all the things mentioned in bracket 4, besides adhering to a metagame, which that doesn't make any sense. How is that even possible? Everything else is what you would say about cEDH. It's optimized, it's as fast as possible, it's as powerful as possible, it's explosive, yada yada. That's all cEDH stuff. And then it just says it doesn't adhere to the cEDH metagame. To me, that just means like
it's a bad commander. That's all that means.
Like,
is
this,
that like
this sounds
yeah.
aggressive, but like that just means like you have a bad deck on your hand that just like plays with other bad decks.
Yeah, right. But like technically, you could bring that to a cEDH pod, and it fits under the cEDH criteria too.
Yeah, it fits under the exact same criteria and all the same rules. You've just chosen to omit things that other decks are playing because you like are choosing to put your head in the sand. I feel like I'm saying negative things here.
Because it's not truly optimized.
Yeah,
no,
it's not truly optimized.
It's not,
then.
which is really, I think, kind of an oxymoron with the title of what this bracket is. You're choosing to not be optimized.
Yeah.
Like it's an optimized casual deck. That's like saying I don't know.
We're trying so hard to stay positive about this fucking bracket.
I'm trying so hard to stay positive about this bracket, but saying that I play an optimized casual deck just also sounds like two things that can't be true. You can be one of those two things, I feel like.
Yeah, it's strange. And when you make a direct comparison to any other game or sport, it sounds very silly. I'm playing basketball as good as I can, except I'm choosing not to put the ball between my legs because I think that looks silly and I don't want to do it for that reason. Other players do it. I don't do it because I don't want to.
Layups because I can't get into the basket as easily.
So I take jump shots from 1 foot away because I don't like layups.
So I built my whole basketball team around people who are good at jump shots. Just that can make threes.
Just play the game to your best ability and like don't hold your.
Why don't you build your basketball team so that you got a couple good jump shot guys, but someone else is big and can get rebounds, right? Like,
exactly.
Why don't you build your team better? Why don't you build your deck better?
I think the reason is if I were to say if I were to play devil's advocate with this argument, the reason is I would imagine they simply do not want to. They don't enjoy the style of huge stack wars. They don't enjoy Rhystic Study, and they just love their commander so much they want to make their commander as good as possible.
Yeah,
and
take a look at like Aang at the Crossroads. Here's my combat to that. And I know you're playing devil's advocate, right? But like what I would have to say to the devil's advocate would be take a look at Aang at the Crossroads. Like you can still do well in cEDH tournaments with something that kind of feels like a bracket 4 deck. You just have to be doing the right things realistically.
Right, yeah. And if you really are, you're committed. You say, I love Astor, my Boros equipment deck. I love Astor so much, which I do. I love Astor so much. I want to play it in cEDH tournaments. I want to make equipments good in cEDH. I want to do this. You can and should do that, and you should play in cEDH games. You should just be okay with like losing a lot. That's not really a good solution either. You know what I mean? You should find people who are playing at the same level as you're playing. If you are
playing other bad cEDH decks, which I think just like kind of means that they wanted their own home, and now they're playing bracket 4. But for some reason, they just wanted their own home, I guess.
And if you enjoy that, truthfully, you should enjoy that. I'm not telling you not to enjoy it. If you like bracket 4 and you have found 3 other people that also like that bracket, you should play that bracket. I'm not going to tell you anything otherwise. I personally just am not interested in it. But like, if you want to do that and that's how you have fun playing Magic, who the fuck is anyone else to tell you what to do? Just understand that if you go out into the wild and to the public, bracket 4 is the most confusing bracket. It's going to be, is this cEDH? Is this bracket 3? Like, what are we doing? It's going to be the most confusing one.
If you want to see bracket 4, check out most of our new set episodes.
Yeah. I would say a lot of those, although they do adhere to a metagame slightly. We play Rhystic Study and Red Elemental Blast and things like that.
Because we know how we're going to build the other decks.
But the set games are oftentimes bracket 4 coded. They're basically bracket 4 decks.
Because we wanted to play these commanders because we wanted to show how cool a new set might be.
Yeah, we wanted to see how strong a commander is without holding anything back. That's bracket 4. I choose Dr. Doom because Dr. Doom is neat and it does something that I think is powerful, and I want to make it as strong as possible. That's the definition of bracket 4 because it's not really good in the cEDH metagame. You have to untap with it and slow. You have to find a haste enabler, all this stuff. Like, that's not good.
I would like to go back to something you said earlier.
I have been rambling, yes. Let's go back.
Proxies.
Okay.
And how, like, sometimes bracket 4 playgroups might just be less okay with proxying decks in general. I think the more that Magic goes on, the less viable those kind of pods are going to end up being.
Yeah.
Especially with how Universes Beyond is going to go. I think we're going to get a lot more people who are going to be attached to their favorite characters from other IPs coming into Magic, and then realizing that they're actually priced out of making one of their favorite characters as powerful in that bracket 4 realm that they want it to be. I think a perfect example of this is the new Squirrel Girl from the new Marvel set, because she's a beloved Marvel character who has an insanely extremely weird power that makes
Which
her.
I don't agree with. I don't like her powers. The power of a squirrel would be so cool. Squirrels are so cool.
Actually
But she
being
doesn't
based
even-
around a squirrel would be cool. But instead, her power is based around however more powerful her opponent is, the more powerful she becomes.
Which doesn't make any sense, because if she's always stronger than the most powerful opponent, she's the strongest person ever. She should always be weaker than whoever she fights against.
But I think if she fights against an ant, she becomes weaker than the ant. Like, I think it depends on
it's
what's
the difference.
What's the downscale of it? Is I guess what my question is.
I thought her power was she's always stronger than her opponent.
I thought it was the worst chance she has of winning a fight, the better chance she has of winning a fight, or something like that. But then her card is about squirrels. Her card's about squirrels, right?
I don't fucking know this Marvel
I don't
shit.
fucking know. But
I think the point of what you're saying is Earthcraft is now $300.
Is that Earthcraft shot up? You're right. It increased by $200 to over $300 now.
Right, yeah. So that now makes
the time of recording.
Yeah, it does make it kind of difficult if you want to play. Now, difficult is kind of loose, because if you want to play Squirrel and casual, just don't play Earthcraft. You don't have to put the combo in there. Just fucking play Squirrels and shit. No one's making you.
Exactly. No one's making you. But it also kind of fights now at this idea of what bracket 4 is then too. Again, how optimized is your deck? You kind of can't have a deck in this space now if this no proxy thing is something that we're going to adhere to. And this problem is this is one anecdotal example of something that's happening recently, but you don't think that with the reserve list around, it's not going to get worse and worse as time goes on?
Right, yeah. And I think part of it for these other brackets is just your deck, because it's not cEDH, it doesn't matter what's in your deck, really. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you don't have the Mox Diamond. You can still have a bracket 4 deck because it's powerful in other ways. That's part of the collecting the cards is part of the joy of Magic for a lot of people. So it can still be bracket 4 without the Earthcraft, I think.
But I guess my point is, you see how silly that is?
Yeah, no, I agree, for sure. Do you want to talk about bracket 2 or bracket 1? I don't even think about that shit ever.
I don't either.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that bracket 1 shouldn't even exist.
Well, that's silly.
I also think that's silly.
They all should exist. Why? People enjoy playing them. What the fuck do you care?
And even if it's the very small amount of people, I think that we should have a jumping off point somewhere,
Do we know right now, where are our precons? Are precons bracket 2, or are they? I thought precons are bracket 2, right? And then bracket 1 is specifically underpowered, very niche-y things. Should we read what those cards are?
The exhibition is bracket 1, and players expect decks to prioritize a goal, theme, or idea over power. Rules around card or commander legality to be flexible if all players agree. Win conditions to be highly thematic or substandard, and gameplay to be an opportunity to show off their creations.
That's the original intent of Commander.
That's the original intent of Commander, but I also feel like most of this can also be said about core and upgraded and optimized
Stop
decks,
using those made-up words. Can we use the numbers, please? I don't know what any of them are.
I think that a lot of these things can be also said about bracket 2, 3, and 4 decks.
What's the definition of bracket 2?
Decks to be mechanically focused, with some cards choosing to maximize creativity and/or entertainment. Win conditions to be incremental, telegraphed on the board, and disruptive. And gameplay to be low-pressured, proactive, and considerate, letting each deck showcase its plan. I'm going to start holding this up in games all the time and go, I don't feel like I'm in a low-pressure, proactive, and considerate environment.
Right now. Your deck is not good here. Yeah, no, I think, to me, what I understand the difference between those two is a bracket 2 deck tries to do something like +1/+1 counters, or something like graveyard theme, or something that has a game state theme that has advantageous reasons to be there. Whereas bracket 1 is I'm playing only ladies in chairs. I'm playing only dogs. And there's no dog theme. They just happen to be dogs. There's no dog lords or anything. There's just dogs. That's the thing. I think that's what a bracket 1 deck is to me, almost a joke. You know what I mean? Your commander is not a legal legendary thing. You're just trying to tell a story, present a thing. Winning is not group up. I guess. Yeah. There's no winning is not your goal. I mean, winning can be part of something, but you're trying to showcase something interesting about Magic. Whereas bracket 2, I do think there is an intent of you are playing the game.
You're still trying to win the game.
You're extremely thematic, and winning isn't the main thing, and you want to have your fun or whatever, but you'll play a Soul Ring because you have a Soul Ring in bracket 2, which I wouldn't do that, but people will do that, and I think that's totally fine.
I guess we are realizing today that even though we might not understand all of these brackets, I think there's still legitimacy to having all of them exist.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think we should do more, though. I am going to be a little bit I don't know, stick in the mud, foot on the ground here, something about this. The whole thing was the 7 and 8s. When we had 10 little steps, we didn't use half of them because we had so many of them. So if we add another thing in between bracket 3 and bracket 4, then we're at 6 brackets, and then soon we're going to be at 7 and then 10 and whatever. I think 5 is enough. Truthfully, 3 is enough
Honestly,
for me.
There should be 3. It should be 3. Bracket 1, bracket 3, and cEDH.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Those are the 3 brackets that I would consider.
And then within cEDH, you can have meta cEDH decks and bad cEDH decks.
Right, yeah.
And just your pods can decide at home which you want to do.
Right, but I'm okay with just the 5 brackets because, again, they all need to come with the conversation, right? Like, there are many cEDH decks. If you put Blue Farm against Lumra, I don't care what you say. The Blue Farm deck is going to win more than the Lumra's going to win. That's just how it's going to be.
Right, but Lumra's built with the intention to be played in a cEDH pod.
Right, yeah, that's the way it is, and that's okay. That's okay that you're going to be mismatched. And if you're thinking, oh, I'm losing a lot, this sucks, I want to win more games, play a different deck. You know what I mean? Like, my favorite Pokemon is Arcanine, but I'm not going to play Arcanine in VGC because it's not that good, because Incineroar exists and there's better options. I'm not going to keep on jamming Arcanine and going, I wish there was a place for me. No, Arcanine's not very good. I'm going to play other shit, and that's okay.
Or if you play Arcanine, you have to understand,
I'm gonna lose.
There's going to be games where, because I can't fake someone out with Arcanine, I'm going to lose this game.
Exactly, yeah. What's your favorite Pokemon? Is it Venusaur?
Lapras is my favorite Pokemon, actually.
Okay, that makes sense. Honestly, I don't like my favorite Pokemon, even though it's Arcanine. I feel like Arcanine's like the cop dog, and when I decided Arcanine was my favorite Pokemon, I didn't really know that. He was just like the legendary Pokemon, except he wasn't legendary, and he was a
cool
tiger.
What makes him the cop dog now?
He's cop's dog. In the game, every time a cop has a dog, it's Arcanine.
Oh.
Which I think it should be Houndoom, personally. I don't know. Houndoom seems more like a cop dog to me. It's Growlithe. Growlithe is like the cop dog more
really
than
what
Arcanine,
it is. Yeah, but they'll evolve into Arcanine eventually.
Yeah. But Lapras is a good one.
Lapras is good. Lapras is my favorite because of, well, A, the design, and B, it was good and like so hot. So hot. Yeah.
I was hoping you would just gloss over that.
No, I'm glad that you picked up on it too. Yeah. But also, it got a Gigantamax form in Sword and Shield. That was really good. You could use Gmax Resonance and set up the Aurora Veil without Snow being up, and it was so good.
Dude, yeah, that makes sense. One of my favorite things ever to do is know that my opponent's going to click Aurora Veil, and I switch in Torkoal, and they go, you fucking idiot.
Now, I played Comfey and Lapras for a little while. Comfey, yeah, because Comfey has that ability that gives all of its healing moves, like, super priority.
Oh.
So what you would do is you would play Giga Drain on it.
Oh, okay.
And Floral Healing, which heals the partner Pokemon.
And you just never die.
And you would just never die. And you would also put Weakness Policy on your Lapras. So you would Gigantamax Lapras, do a really weak Giga Drain onto your Lapras to activate Weakness Policy, and then you get a double special attack boost.
And then
so that
you're the fuck out of them.
Use Gmax Resonance to set up your screens.
There you go.
And now all of a sudden you have this Floral Healing for your guy. And if Lapras was bad in the matchup, you would bring in Goodra, because Goodra had Sap Sipper, so you could still hit a priority Giga Drain into a Sap Sipper Goodra so that you would get an attack boost before going off.
I hate Goodra. I don't know why.
Oh, because Goodra's bad. That's why.
Its eyes are disgusting to me.
Oh, yeah.
There's something wrong with the mind of Goodra. I do not like it.
But have you seen its special defense stat, dude?
It's really
gnarly.
well,
yeah. But it sucks, dude. It sucks.
I forget why we were talking about that.
I don't remember either.
We've been going for 38 minutes, dude. You want it to be a quick one?
This is a quick one. Too long already. Yeah,
we're good. You wanted 35, so
I think this is great, actually.
Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts are none.
None.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I just put Copy Enchantment and Rogsai.
Just slopping it up.
Meta, you know what I mean?
You're in the meta, yeah. Now all of a sudden your Rogsai deck's not bracket 4.
Yeah. Now, because of this.
Now, yeah.
Realistically, I want to copy someone else's Necropotence. That's what I want to do with it.
That's sick, yeah.
All right, you good?
I'm good.
Thanks so much for watching. If you want to support us directly, you can do so on Patreon, like our $100 patrons.
Apex of War, Handedly, The Asian Sage, Tenception, Mac the Mad, Seabass, Bob the Skull, Davishire, Abyss AA, Peggy, E4 Cards and More, Red, Finks MTG, Wandering Around, Nethresmian, Mike H, Korith Sean, Tom Bieber, Cumulative Upkeep MTG, Nathan Cohen, Mr. Jerby, Okie Toad, Penguin Man 0089, David Newman, Johnny Denver, Omelet, Rocky Hall, Pat Fires, Will Kill, Spangler, Larceny Roars, Sparky B, S.E. Phillip, Only Groupie, Zach Hartley, Reactive, Sean of the Ice, The Works 472, Garrett Garrett, Mace the Ace, Luke Cook, Connor Sipon, Joshua Day, Demon of Roscaries, Peter Stewart, Uncle Butts, Duke Luke, Kawaja A. Hamid, Scott Hawk, and Baby G-Bus.
If you want to pick up any of our merch, you can do that at playtowinmtg.com.
Thanks, Dragon Shield, for supporting the show. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the affiliate link down below for 5% off.
Follow us on the internet for more content.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time. And the $50 patrons, they're up next.
Migs, FTW, Lumi, E, Devin Morrow, Carpet Angel, Turtle99, Rick, Sharticus, Max McComber, Meta, Ben Finelli, Sarcastic, Mystic Muffin Man, Zachary Coulson, Dalton Poteet, Jan Wildfang, Thomas Bueno, and David Nelson.